All right, we are recording, so we will start in 3, 2, 1. All right, Jacob, welcome on to our 15th episode of Climb the Ladder. We're excited to have you, man.
Yep, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
So I'm gonna go ahead give you a little bit of an introduction, but I'll let you do it for the most part. So we've got Jacob here, and he is from the Midwest, and he has recently joined the Washed Up Network in the last month or so, and he is the host of the Real Talk podcast. So Jacob, I'll let you take it from there. Go ahead, tell the people who you are, what you do, all that good stuff.
I am from the Midwest. I'm from Michigan. Live about half an hour west of Detroit. You know, for that geographical reference for people. Um, I'm a freshman in college. I attend Madonna University. It's a small NAIA school. It's where I play college baseball. I'm a big sports guy, obviously. I root for the Detroit sports teams, as hectic and terrible as that is right now. The Lions, Tigers, Pistons. Michigan football fan, Michigan basketball. So I'm kind of sitting in that realm. Played hockey growing up as well as baseball. But I do love football. I obviously dive into that and watch that all the time on the weekend. Got two sisters. That's really me.
All right, man. Yeah, I mean, we've heard you talk about in your recent episodes just about, obviously the Big Ten and Michigan, and we're in the same boat over here, kind of on a different scale, but with the Mountain West not playing right now. So definitely feel the pain there as football is really kind of underway now. But hey, I know you and me are both glad that there's at least an NFL season.
Yeah, as much as Sunday hurt me as a Lions fan, I'm glad to see football across the board with college and obviously the NFL. NFL Sunday was fun.
I think that honestly, that's a good way to put it. Regardless of who anybody was rooting for this week, I think we can all agree that the football snacks were out and it felt like a Sunday in the fall. And so that's what I mean. I was lucky being on the winning end of a nice Seattle win to open the season. But
Right.
honestly, that was probably the first no heart attack game that I've had as a Seahawks fan in a long time.
Right. No, yeah, I mean, it was good. I thought, everything but that Sunday night game between the Rams and Cowboys was good. I thought that Rams and Cowboys game was kind of dull, but every other game I thought, it was at least entertaining, glad to watch, fun to watch.
Yeah, I would agree on that. It was definitely a little dry for being the first Sunday night. I mean, I think Sunday Night Football already has its platform. And then when you're the first one after an entire pandemic, you just want it to be such a big game.
Right.
And it just wasn't. Like you said, it was dull. It was kind of dry. You just kind of got Dak versus Goff, and it wasn't anything special. It wasn't horrible, but it was just kind of I'd rather watch that at 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Right, especially when you look at both offenses, high powered, you've got what they say are pretty good quarterbacks. I'm not a big believer in either of them, but you say you've got offense, and we didn't really see much flash from the offense. We saw a very dull punt, score. It was just a dull game.
It was. And I think that Sunday night, they end up flexing games later on in the season anyways. And so if any more like that are kind of on the horizon, I'm sure that those will be the first to go. But
Right.
the bottom line is that football's back. And I think that that's what we are the most excited about.
Definitely, definitely.
So something I want to dive into on the baseball side of things is this playoff bubble that just got announced. What are your initial reactions? And then after your initial reactions, what are kind of your thoughts as we go forward? I mean, we're only a few weeks out from this, really.
Yeah, it's coming up. When I looked at our fantasy baseball league this morning, and I go, all right, so who am I playing this week? And it goes championship semifinal. I go, oh shoot, there's only a couple weeks left of this baseball season. Like, it's coming up. On the bubble aspect, I mean, this should have been how they started the regular season, and then maybe we wouldn't have had any problems, honestly. But I think the bubble's going to work out, except for the clown show that is the MLB office, led by Rob Manfred, he comes out and says maybe we'll have fans at the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hypothetically say it's the Dodgers and White Sox. You're going
Perfect.
to ask fans from LA and Chicago to get on a plane, get a hotel in Arlington, pay the World Series ticket price that isn't at full capacity to watch this game. Why? Like, you're letting people travel to Arlington, and I'm sure Arlington really doesn't want that in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, not at all.
You're going to get people to travel across the country to watch the World Series game when you could have just said, all right, we didn't have a bubble all regular season. Let's not do it in the postseason. Let's have fans for the postseason. Let the teams travel. Keep them, they've been traveling all season. Yes, we've had some errors, but it's been better since the first couple weeks.
It's working overall. It's working.
Right. And let's say, okay, no autographs, no nothing, like no player fan contact.
Yeah.
But fans can be in the game, limited attendance. I think him saying that we can have fans now, but only for the bubble concept, those two things don't add up.
No, I think that defeats the bubble, because if you look at the NHL, they've had 30,000 COVID tests with 0 positive cases. That proves that the bubble itself works. The bubble system has worked for 2 other professional sports leagues. So we know that for a fact. But then, like you said, with the clown himself leading this league, I think all he's doing really is telling publicity, telling the news what the fans want to hear. I think that he knows that fans want to be in attendance. And I think also he knows in the back of his mind that it's never going to happen in 2020. And I think he's just saying, like, hey, let's announce the bubble and let's just get people's hopes up, because I saw the new Ranger Stadium can hold 40,000 and he wants to go 25%. And so I'm like, okay, I get that would allow people to spread out enough, but that doesn't work with a bubble system, because the second you get, I mean, like you said, you have people coming in from both sides of the country, hypothetically, and what if you play 1 or 2 games and half the team has COVID? Now the World Series is delayed. I just don't think it's worth it.
No, it might not be really worth it to have fans. And you're right. He may be just doing this for a publicity standpoint. I just think even if it is that, he looks like a bigger idiot than he is winning fans. Like, people who actually are thinking about this from a baseball standpoint, not just the average fan of a good team. They're thinking about this like, dude, this doesn't make any sense.
It really doesn't. And I feel like everybody around him in that office should just really tell him, honestly, because I think that if they decide on the bubble, they've got it all planned out. I took some notes. They are doing it at Petco Park, and then they're also doing it on the other side at Houston and Arlington. So we've got it all planned out. We've got all of the details that are hard to figure out in place. So why ruin a good plan by then adding on fans? Because, I mean, I'm just like you. I'm a diehard fan. I want to be there in attendance. But in reality, I'd rather see the teams finish out this season strong and healthy rather than me get to go to a game and then the whole World Series is canceled.
Right. And notice how he says World Series and possibly the American and National League Championship. He says that fans can maybe go to those, but not for the wild card games when the teams are traveling to the home site of the higher seed.
Exactly.
So no fans can go to that one, but as soon as we come into a confined location, a bubble scenario, then we're going to let fans in. It sounds idiotic.
It doesn't add up, and it's like you went into a second grade classroom and said, hey, what's your idea for the baseball playoffs? And it's like he took input from all of them and then just released it to ESPN.
It was Billy Madison. He raised his hand in the first grade classroom. Can I go to second grade now?
Yeah, I know. Manfred has that big red nose on, and I don't know what we're going to do about him.
I don't know either.
So I guess on a happier note, or a more optimistic note, What are we looking at for both of our teams? Because we've been close. We've got the Mariners and we've got the Tigers who are running towards that finish line. And I know selfishly, I need the Mariners to end their playoff drought, but also the Tigers have a very good chance as well.
Yeah, they got some youth pitching that's done pretty well. Obviously, over the last couple of days, they've struggled mightily since losing like 19-0 to the Brewers or whatever it was. They're beating the Royals right now, but it was the expectation was never that this team was going to make a run. When you listen to the radio in Detroit, I think everybody knows where this team is.
Yeah.
But it was the thought of a 60-game season, having some young, stellar pitching, putting it together, and possibly making a run. Now, if Mize and Skubal are the big names. If they were to go out and just crap the bed, then it was what it was. We weren't going to do anything this season anyways. But the fact that they've come up, they've pitched well in majority of their starts. We have some of the older guys actually hitting well. I mean, just sneak in. We know we're not winning the World Series, but high draft picks in baseball aren't the same as they are in the NFL or the NBA or the NHL, because they spend a couple of years in the minor leagues before they come up. Now, that might be changing when you look at Juan Soto. A guy like Juan Soto, he's in the majors at 19, 20 years old.
Exactly.
But it's just, I look at it in terms of things like that. Like, if you've got a chance to make this postseason in a 60-game season, I'd rather do that than let's scrap all of it for the number one pick.
Right, because honestly, the chances of this season happening were pretty low. And so to even get the season, that's where I'm in the same boat as you. I'm like, this is not the best Mariners team that we're going to see this decade. I sure as hell hope not. But
right.
It's a rebuilding team, but at the same time, we might be just good enough to make it with a 60-game season. Now, 60 games is usually where we either hit our stride or start to skid. And so that's what I'm thankful for. Just take advantage of the short season and the off chance that we make it. Cool. Now, do I think we're going to make the series? Probably not. But even just to end that drought with this short season, I think it could be cool. But who knows at this point? I mean, right now we're one game out from the Astros, which I'll just be happy if the Astros don't make it. I'll say it.
Same.
Also having the Mariners kind of control their fate as well is kind of cool for me as a fan.
And once you get into the postseason, nothing else matters besides the games you're playing. There is no bigger picture when you get in. It's, all right, we're here. We're going to play this team. And when the rotation gets shortened and everything like that, I think, when you look at the Tigers, you got Mize and Skubal. Those would be two of what? Your 3 or 4 starters in a wild card series?
Yeah.
I mean, those are two. Let's say, there's really nobody else that's going to give them a good outing, but that's 2. And maybe the offense strings it together in another game and, they move on. Like, I don't expect it. I don't expect them to make the postseason. There's only about a week and a half left. They're not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't mind it. I don't get super excited about the team because that they're ultimately a bad baseball team, and in 162 games, they might only win 60 this year.
Right.
But the fact that they started off hot, they were competing, it was enjoyable to watch.
Mm-hmm. One phrase that you can adopt as a Detroit sports fan that we commonly use in Seattle is hopelessly optimistic, because we're optimistic to no end, but we know that it's rarely going to pay off, at least on the baseball side of things. So you're welcome to adopt that as well if you'd like to.
Growing up, I've seen some, solidly good teams, though, 2 times in the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I think personally, I've seen the best rotation in baseball ever on the Tigers.
Yeah.
Scherzer, Verlander, Porcello, Doug Fister, Anibal Sanchez was when he was unreal. Valverde when he didn't blow a save all season long.
I think that's something cool that you've had come through your system, because while you might have not had the best teams the entire I mean, your entire lifetime, you've had some stellar players come through the system that unfortunately have moved on, but you've got to witness and cheer on for yourself. So that's still awesome in itself.
Right. Yeah. I mean, division championships. I've seen those teams make the postseason and play in like big postseason games. Just never getting it done was obviously disappointing.
For sure. So one thing you mentioned there is the shorter rotation. So playoffs obviously already bring a shorter rotation, but now Manfred is saying that between the first two series, so the championship and the divisional series, there's not going to be any days off. How is that going to affect not only a pitching staff, but really just the longevity of arms and, I mean, energy, motivation? How do you think that that's going to play into these teams?
I think it's going to matter a heck of a lot for the pitchers. I think this is where having a long reliever is he's going to transition into a starter in this postseason. He really is. I think, it's going to be huge because you've got no days off, meaning you're using your bullpen every single day. And if you're in game one and your starter gets in trouble, you're using about 2, 3, maybe even 4 relievers a day from now, 2 days from now, they're going to have to go throw again. How many pitches can they throw?
Yeah, because really when you're a reliever and you're used to maybe going out, once every couple, maybe once every 3 days, throwing an inning maybe, now you might
Right.
have to go for two. And when you're a guy who just, throws upper 90s for one inning, you're the 3-out guy. That's all you're good for. And now you're being asked to maybe do double that. You're going to see a lot of late, I think, lead changes just because of the pitching and the staff.
And I also am going to be curious to see how managers handle this.
Mm-hmm.
If a starter gets in trouble and it's 6-0 in the third inning, are you gonna take him out to try to get your offense back in the game? If it's not a win or go home game, are you just gonna let him go? Let him ride it out till 100 pitches or 90 pitches or whatever it is. Ride him out so you don't burn any of your bullpen.
Yeah.
Just seeing how managers manage the game. Are they gonna yank it? Because you're not gonna really want to yank a starter early unless it's a win or go home game. You're gonna let him go before you touch your pen. It's just gonna be interesting.
It's going to be more important than ever to see if they can turn it around because, like you said, if you're in the third inning, but you're already 60 pitches deep, well, you might just have to let it ride and you might have to find something within you to make it to the 5th, 6th, 7th, maybe. Because if you're using your entire rotation for a week straight, it's not going to happen if you don't have the depth.
So it becomes it's a really hard decision because you also don't want your starting pitcher to get into the 110 and he's got to go pitch in a couple more days. You don't have time to we got a day off. You get to reset the rotation. He's got an extra day. There's going to be no extra days, so it's going to be really interesting. You don't want to ride him too long, but you do want to ride him long enough.
Right, and that's where I think it's really just going to be up to the managers to not only be smart for the team as far as offensive power goes, being strategic on where you place your lineup, but really the health and the longevity of these pitchers, because if they don't look out for them now, who knows what that could do to their arms.
Right. And I think it being a 60-game season helps that. If it was 162 and now they don't have days off, they just pitch for 6 months and then now they're every day.
Yeah.
So the 60 game helps that, but we see 7-inning games to help arms. Now we're asked, like, you did that to help the arms, but now you're hurting the arms, and it's just it's going to be very interesting. I think the managers managing it is going to be huge. Bullpens in the postseason are always some of the biggest things. The bullpen might matter a little bit more this year because you're using your whole staff every single series.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that we'll see wins decided just solely by the pen. And like you said, as they usually are in pretty much every postseason. I think it'll be much more noticeable now. And I think if they don't have the offensive support, teams are just going to crumble this season. So I'm really interested, just as a fan of obviously Seattle, but as the game as a whole, it's just going to
Right.
be really interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, we might get into a situation where long relievers starting Game 7 of the World Series because all the pitchers threw 100 plus. They're done.
Yeah, if we get to a game 7 and the whole rotation is done, you might have fried that guy on the first or second game, and you don't have him for game 7.
You get to see Jock Peterson closing out Game 7 of the World Series, trying to put
Yeah,
the Whites, trying to put Tim Anderson away to win the World Series or something.
going to be following Cut 4 on Twitter like no other, and it's just position players pitching in game 7.
Yeah, trying to that would be something. But
Yeah, I mean, who knows? 2020's brought weirder stuff, so honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if we see that. So who knows?
right.
Something I want to get into a little bit is just your own playing career and kind of what's brought you up to this point. And I mean, we started talking even before you joined the network, and you were looking at a couple colleges to play in, and you finally settled on one. So maybe just kind of take us through where your playing career has brought you up to this point and kind of the outlook as we head into the spring.
Yeah, so I'm a left-handed pitcher. I'm gonna be a reliever this fall/spring. We're not really gonna have a fall season. We might scrimmage a couple junior colleges, but we're really not gonna get started underway till the spring. But earlier this summer, I ended up throwing a no-hitter in a 2-0 game, and that's really where the school saw me. And then I ended up throwing a bullpen in front of some of their coaches. And they said, hey, yeah, we'd like to have you. They gave me an offer. And I accepted it. I had talked to a couple of coaches, college coaches that prior summer, but it was never really, I never really felt like, yeah, that's the school I want to go to. That's the path I want to go down.
Right.
So I had accepted that, this summer ball for this past summer, I accepted, all right, this was going to be it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came along and kind of gave me the opportunity. And I was very thankful for that. And I'm excited, to be playing college baseball now. We're a pretty good school. The past couple of years when, we made it to the national tournament, the team that's knocked us out has gone on to win the whole thing. So,
Wow.
We're hoping this year we can get over the hump. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I remember you were kind of just evaluating, might have a couple options out there, but really just wanted to keep playing the game. So I'm stoked for you, just as you're, starting out your college career and just kind of see what happens this fall.
I can't hear you anymore.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I don't know what happened.
Let's see. Anything now? No?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? No? Here, let me try headphones.
It might have been me. I don't know though. Trying to.
Can you hear me with headphones? Can you hear anything?
Yeah, I got you now.
Okay, sweet. I got you as well.
All right, awesome.
Here, let me untangle these really quick and we'll go with the headphones.
All right.
All right, so we're back?
Yeah, we're back.
Sweet. Okay, I got you there. So, okay. I think we're just, I was just saying I'm excited to see where you go from here. One more question just on your own career. Is this something that, you're hoping to stay here for the next 4 years, or is that something where you're hoping it's kind of a gateway into something a little bit bigger for you?
I think, just the next 4 years. I don't think, I'm not expecting any like something farther to happen from this. I'd
Hmm.
obviously be open to, those professional summer leagues, or, I'd be open to some of those things, but it's not really the expectation for me. I'm just going to play college baseball for 4 years. I'm excited about it, and that, I'm just going to live that up.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I'm someone who misses sports every day. I mean, I was big into football and baseball in high school, and there's obviously nothing that matches team sports and just being able to play. So I'm
Right.
in the same boat, regardless of the level of play or where it's at, as long as you can just keep playing ball, I think that's all that matters.
Yeah, I'm extremely thankful for the opportunity, and already meeting some of the guys. It's just been so much fun already.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then it's pretty close to home, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'm commuting. It's just right down the road, like 5-10 minutes.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, even
Yeah,
better, you can save a little bit and, do what matters most, be with the family, play some ball. Doesn't get much
right.
better than that.
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's awesome. Well,
Thanks.
I want to let you take the floor and just kind of preface what you do with Real Talk and kind of your experience joining the Washed Up Network, because it's been awesome to have you for the last month or so. And I know that you've made a big impact on the network with your hot takes and your passion just that you bring to each episode. So the floor is yours. Tell us a little bit more about Real Talk.
Yeah, thanks. So I'm a guy that kind of takes the approach of I want it to be like a radio show, kind of. That's that's my goal. I want to be on the radio talking about sports in a major city or national thing, and I think maybe the hot takes come with it, but it's not hot takes by design. It's I actually believe that.
I think
Um,
it's passionate takes is more an accurate description.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. I think that sometimes makes my episodes a little bit more entertaining. That I get, I'm into it.
Hmm.
Um, and it mostly comes from a place of anger. Whether it was, on Monday's show, the Lions being what they were and how they played, and how we still have a head coach that I don't like. But so I just I try to tell you that, my slogan is, I'm going to tell you the truth about your favorite teams. Not going to really sugarcoat it. If your team did something they shouldn't, I'm going to let you know. If they did something good, I'm also going to praise it in that sense. I try to cover the big topics that are going around. Make my predictions and stuff like that. I obviously talk about my Detroit and Michigan team sometimes.
Hmm.
I only do that if I feel okay. I've got to address this. I've got to get it off my chest. But I try to touch on East Coast to West Coast. What are the big sports topics going around, and what direction can I take it in to make people want to listen in.
Yeah, for sure. I think that that's one of my favorite parts about your show is just that you definitely dive into the teams that you root for, but you also give such a wide perspective on so many teams coast to coast. And I love what you said about your slogan, just giving the truth about your team. It's like, if I'm going to listen, I want to know the truth. It might hurt, but as a Mariners fan, I already know it's going to hurt. And so, I want to hear it. And that's, I think, one of my favorite parts is that you're real and you're honest. And I mean, it's in the name of the show, Real Talk. And
Right.
I think that you do a great job of running it kind of like a radio show because it's passionate, but it's awesome and it's there, and you always know what you're gonna get with a little bit of surprise there mixed in.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I would love to, sit here, and be on Detroit sports radio, because, I'd be talking about my favorite teams. But,
Hmm.
I could go into any city, I think, and talk about those teams. And, I wouldn't root for them. I'd root for my team still, but I think I'd be able to, I want to be on the radio. That's my goal. If it's not sports talk radio, I'd like to do play-by-play for a team. But I would. I think the ultimate life for me would be sitting on the radio for 4 hours, 3 hours a day, and you know, doing it that way.
Yeah, I mean, how fun would that be? We all dream of that at one point, whether it's of our playing career or even as a kid, just having your voice heard by someone, which I think is even cool just with this platform that Washed Up has provided.
Definitely.
Just being able to get out there and really, as a consumer of sports in general, I think that it's awesome that we can both just follow our favorite teams, obviously, but really provide insight and perspective on so many other teams, so much sports news that's happening because I mean, back in March and April, we barely had any sports content to talk about. And here we are 6 months later with more than any of us in the Washed Up Network can cover in, multiple episodes. So it's so cool to see how far we've come.
Yeah, definitely. And when Clay reached out about me joining the network, I was ecstatic. And I'm extremely grateful and thankful to be a part of this network. We've done live streams, we've done shows. I support everybody else's show. You guys support mine, and it's great. I absolutely love it. Everyone's so nice, everyone's so great, funny. We all get along, and I'm very thankful to be a part of it.
Yeah, I just can't get over how cool it is with how widespread it's become in such a short amount of time. And just, I mean,
Yeah.
thanks to tools really that we learned over quarantine using Zoom to record and to talk to people like you, that I would have never met had maybe the pandemic not happened, but being able to
Yeah.
connect to you, to the girls who are on the East Coast doing the show, really expanding it so much broader than just the local community that it started with. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, I think it's really cool too, and we've really taken off. I mean, it's getting up there to be. A lot of people listen to many of the different podcasts on the network. So, yeah, it's definitely pretty cool.
Yeah, there's something for everyone, which we've talked about before, but
Right.
regardless of your interest, there's a podcast for you. And I think that that's the goal as an entertainment network, is just to provide something that people want to listen to. And I think that we're well underway. And that's something that, you and me both are excited to be a part of.
Yeah, definitely.
So one more thing that I want to put on the record, Hunter and I are out to interview a fan of every MLB team at least once. And so you are officially our Detroit Tigers MLB fan.
Sounds
So
great.
I'll let you know if we find another one, but you're at least the first one. So you've got that in your books.
All right, yeah, I'll mark that down. All right, when you guys become the number one baseball podcast, I'm their Detroit Tigers guy. I got that.
Yeah. Yep, you got that title for sure. We're still working into that top 100, but maybe one day we'll get there eventually, and then you can put that on your resume as well.
I will.
Well, Jacob, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's such an honor to, have you on the show and really just do this whole washed up thing with you. Big shout out to Real Talk. It's so fun to listen to you every week. Your shows come out Mondays and Fridays, so
Yep.
perfect time for coming off the weekend as well, preparing for the weekend of sports, really.
Yep, definitely. Thanks. Appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, man, it's been a blast. And everybody go check out Real Talk. Give them the same love that you give to us. And we look forward to another week of sports ahead.
Yep, we do. Thanks.
All right, man. Take care. Good talking to you. We'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good.
Bye.